All right, we are back. I had to take a little leave of absence there due to this coronavirus thing. Not that I had it myself, but I just wasn't able to get around to doing a lot of these videos due to various reasons. But that aside, we got another one on the docket today. This Kato 3024-1, which is the model number for Kato, or as they say in the industry, an EF64 1000, which just rolls off the tongue. No idea what EF stands for without doing any sort of research. All I know is it looks pretty snazzy. Japanese engine here. You'll find it is a electric type. So we'll get it out here on the track and do a nice review on this one. Alrighty, well here it is out on the rear railer, getting ready to attach it to a nice freight train that I loaded up behind it. Pretty sure this is a freighter. From what I can tell, looking at the pictures and videos and everything else from the real life version. Also, I don't know specifically which way it's supposed to run, forwards or backwards, but I like doing it like this with the logo on the back. I don't know, personal preference, I guess. Because I don't think it matters, because in my research and looking at this thing, it's gone either or. So I'm going to slide it on back here with it attaching it on. Pantographs up for luck. Like so. Alright, we are ready to rock and roll here. So let me pop it on over here. Get this thing out of the way. We don't need you, or else that will end in tragedy. And start her up. We'll see how this sucker runs around. Alright, so the overall look at this thing, it isn't my favorite in the world. It is, I think, on the average side, if you will. Still gonna give it a 6. I do think it has some unique qualities to it. I do like the two-tone paint scheme. Some of these other ones that are the exact same model come in all brown or all blue, and they just look boring to me. But I like the two-tone here. I think it works. It's definitely on the larger side, which is nice. And you got a ton of these industrial beast-looking wheels, which I really like, and I think it's its best feature there. So while it's not my favorite in the world, you know, I could be satisfied with a 6. Now, as with the materials, everything seems to be pretty solid. It's very heavy. You got a couple traction tires underneath, which helps on the grip for sure. Yeah, it's pretty solid. All plastic throughout, as far as I can tell. But you know, they did a good job. So I give it a 7, as I can't really find anything too cheapo with this guy. Even though this is supposed to be, I think, a quote-unquote lower-end model versus what all else Kato has to offer. for its uniqueness. You know, I think these are fairly common, especially in Japan. I'm still going to give it an above average because it does look neat and slightly different than certainly everything else that I have, kind of. So I give it a 6. I think that's a fair assessment for the overall uniqueness of what you get with this guy. As for the noise that this thing makes, you probably can hear it. In fact, you probably can't hear it because it makes almost no noise at all when you're running it around. The sound you do hear tend to be the wheels behind it, and in fact, when I'm running it by, I can hear the noise from the tail end of the train of what's all connected to it versus what's in the front, which is where the engine is. So very, very quiet and very impressive considering what this is. As I stated before, what I think is a quote-unquote low-end on the marketing scale type of model. So I give it a solid 9. That's pretty good. Even when you speed it up, you can't really hear the engine at all. It's just the car wheels behind it masking anything that might be there. As for the power to get this thing going, I'll do a little assessment here to show you what I experienced, but I mean, it's really good. It starts moving way down the scale, one of the lowest I have, I think. So I give it a 9 because it's pretty impressive of where this thing gets going after it warms up, as I'll review here in a second. Okay, well, after this engine was sitting for about 6 months, this is the speed I turned it on to where it finally started moving on its own. But after it warmed up, you could see it started to move pretty good clip there around the corner. But if I dial it back now that it's been running and heated up, it looks like somewhere in there is where it first starts to move. So pretty good from a power perspective that it moves at that speed, you know, for slow crawl and whatever else you want to do with it. Pretty impressive. Motor strength. This thing is a beast. It can pull almost anything that I've pulled or attached to it so far. It seems to have a very strong motor. I haven't even pushed it to its limits, but I am giving it a 9, even though I would not be surprised if this thing should be a 10. Very impressive with the motor. Definitely the traction tires underneath helps with that grip and put all that power within this giant motor, you know, on the track to really pull whatever you want. And I even attached some really old school 80s cars, passenger cars on the front with lights, and these things have so much friction. A lot of the engines can't even budge them when I attach them to it, but this thing pushes it with ease. Is a well-deserved 9 from what I can tell. Especially since, again, it sure seems like it's supposed to be a low-end model. Okay, what I did here is I attached some old school 80s cars in the front that have lights, super high resistance. Some engines I have can't even budge those, and this thing is pushing it with ease. There's almost no change in power. This is the same speed I was running at before. So you can see up here, there's your dial right down the middle. So pretty impressive that it can do this. Because like I said, some of the other cars and engines that I have can't even get these things to budge, let alone push them along there. So just shows you the strength of the overall motor itself. Ah yes, here is your world famous slow crawl test. This sucker is smooth. Electric engines tend to be more so than their electric or steam counterparts. But even if it's not a steam engine and it's just gliding along the track, like this is really good. I gave it a full 10. It does not get any better than this from a slow moving train perspective. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Derailment. This thing does not come off the track at all. It's got these big old lips on the bottoms there, which really keeps it on, and even if I were to pick it up, it's super easy to just pop those wheels right back on the track. So it got a full 10 from me on this section because it's well deserved. As far as problems go, nothing bad to speak of at all. Full 10 marks from me. I've had this guy maybe a year and a half or so, and nothing negative to speak of, so it gets a full A+. The only problem I seem to have is keeping this thing in focus. Alright, money time. What did I pay for this? Well, all said and done, bought it new, out of Japan, on eBay, through a buy it now, so it wasn't even an auction or anything. I paid in total $57.88. And that's pretty darn good. Especially if you look today on eBay, the cheapest one I could find, all said and done, is for $86. So right off the bat, I'm about 30 bucks ahead. And if you actually sort by highest price, some poor soul is trying to sell it for $291 plus $500 in shipping. Please do not pay $791 for this model. It is definitely not worth it for that price. But my price of a tenth of that, more than a tenth of that, at $57.88, yeah. I mean, you saw the review. All the stats are pretty good. All the stats are above average, if not the top. So I think I got a pretty good deal on this thing, considering, like I said, I think it's supposed to be one of the lower end models that Kato makes. I mean, a lot of their higher end stuff is like, you're looking at 150 plus, maybe? So the fact that you can find it at 86, 90, you know, that seems to be the starting point for a lot of theirs. And then you work in the deal that I got for $57.88, which may have had a 10% off eBay coupon in there. I don't know. Regardless, that's still a heck of a deal for what you get, based on everything else with the super strong motor combined with how quiet it is. Like, it's just top notch all around. Alright, when you tootle it all up, comes in at 84, which is pretty good. In fact, that's the third highest out of all the 27 I've reviewed so far, which is pretty impressive. I did not think it would get that high on the list. In fact, it knocked out the orange BNSF one that's out of focus in the background here. That came in at 83. So 1 point above that one, which was also a Kato, and one that I thought was pretty good. So the fact that this nudged that one out for a new third place, you're into something special here. Even though it's not the best looking engine in the world, it does have a lot of other good things going for it. So I'm certainly glad I got it. I think I got a heck of a deal. $57. You know, if you could find that price for this one, I say get it, because it is a good little engine. In fact, it's not really little, it's kind of on the big side, but still. It does the job. It has the power. It has a lot of good things going for it. In fact, the overall look was the lowest rating I gave it, with a 6, combined with the uniqueness. Everything else was above that, so this one was a surprise, I must say. And that'll do it for this one. Stay tuned for more, lots more still to come. Hopefully by now I can start getting back into the swing of things. So be on the lookout. More fun around the corner.